course you do it right when I fucking do that. Always. Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, roosters and hens and everything else in between, Cock Talk is back, and I'm out of practice. Somehow, just from 1 week off, and everything's gone to hell. But as always, I'm Tyler at MBF Express from the Coop Collective. We have Josh at Grateful Coops. No Dave tonight, but we do have Blake from Waddle Waddle Racing, chock full of ideas. We were talking too much, and Josh was asking us if we were done, so we could get this show on the road. Gentlemen, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Got a lot to cover.
So, yeah. Bunch of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I gotta get this stream pulled up. I didn't even do that yet. Okay, there we are. And tonight Josh has there you go.
After a year in, still unlocking things.
Josh has unlocked the live chat to put everything you're saying right there on the stream. So those of you that pop in after the fact can get a little bit of that fun sense of what's going on during the actual game here. So that's cool. I like that we got that little bot hanging out there so we can talk a little bit. And so anything going on? Anything worth talking about this week?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read through actually what we're about to get into a lot of, so I'm probably going to learn stuff along the way. So I'm excited to.
Yeah,
maybe our cries last week on the show were heard because I don't know. One of us said, "Can we just get some help?" Or are we gonna have to do all the grind and figure this out, and then all these new people come in and it's all already done for them?
Well, I do have somebody that claims they started all of this.
Okay,
and it came from an unlikely source. I went and visited my family this weekend because I saw my sister, and she was like, I started all of this, right? And I'm like, what? And then she's like, well, I asked the question, and they used it in the dev vlog. And then she showed me in the chat where she asked again. She was like, is there any more clarification we can get here on the talents and how they work? And I think, as he always does, Sploosh was like, they're not going to do it. They never do it. And then literally Deli was like, there are 6 talent boosts from Eyes. Like in that moment, that was the first moment they gave it to us.
Yeah, I think.
And then we all were like, oh no, we dove into it.
Kind of some of the stuff we were talking about off air too, but I think once we knew that should be looking for something, we always kind of guessed that we should be, but once we really had confirmation that we should,
then we could dive like directly in. Yeah.
And as we were saying off air too,
yeah,
to me, that covers, I think what we've uncovered in the last week was a third of the total racing parts that we need to uncover, right?
Yeah.
We still have, so we've uncovered talents.
There's still a lot, man.
And we were talking about off air about like, just because a certain talent matches with the terrain doesn't necessarily mean that that's the terrain preference.
Right.
So we've only uncovered talents. We still need to uncover terrain, and we still need to uncover distance. And the big question of all is the consistency question, or what it even means, right? So
we dove into that. We dove into that with Ben F. He was doing the best he can, just throwing every single piece of data he can at us to try to figure out what consistency means and where it's coming from. I have my thoughts, but they're still incomplete, so I don't want to just like toss them directly out there. We'll get to consistency because we're gonna have to. But there is now at least about 10 new things that we know definitively. I think it's more than 10 now. They actually leaked a few other things that we know definitively are secrets to the game. And on Foul Language this week, those guys got into it and they got deep onto it. I really enjoy listening to those guys and the breakdown that they threw at us. And we're going to get even deeper and go directly into the tutorial tonight, because they not only updated in the talent section all the new things that are happening, they also slipped some new things into understanding your chicken, things that we didn't even discover that they decided to just give us.
Lots of things. It was we've been putting on tinfoil hats for over a year now, trying to figure these things out. And were we close?
I think some came true.
Not so bad. Not so bad, man.
Some came true. I mean, I think what so we knew rollerblades and the star thing meant something, right?
Yes.
We knew machete was, some heads were popping on early, right?
Yeah.
We knew, so there was things
From
I
the
think
beak
that
ring, yeah.
we saw, but we just didn't have confirmation from the devs.
But like hearing confirmation that vampire beak does enhance some like the offensive talents, like that's things that we theorized but not necessarily pinned down. And is it something that we would have even noticed? Is that something that if they didn't give that to us, do you think you would have caught that?
Like, I love how that wasn't even something we were trying to grab at the moment.
Right.
Like someone was trying to prove, I think, machete on grass, and Daly was like, "Yep, you're almost there," but not quite. And then someone was like, "Vampire makes you more aggressive," and he was like, "Yep." And then someone else said the beak ring before he even could get it on the thing. And then we knew beak ring did something, but we didn't know it was for a bunch of different things. We knew it did well for the machete talent, but now beak ring means a bunch of stuff. So it's cool. I like that we asked, and the community as a whole has been asking to have some more clues and figure this out. We've been racing our asses off, and we can't quite figure this out, but it's cool now that we have some things to go off of. We still have 6 talents that are completely unassigned, which I imagine have something. I can't imagine 6 talents just don't have an assignment if the rest of them do, and we still got some sleuthing to do. So
the one thing that we did theorize correctly long ago was, I think one of us said that lizard eyes would have an effect on devolution, and that did come true.
Yeah, that was a big one from Dr. Droob. He has 3 of the 7 because he was so sure it had to be something, which made a lot of sense. I mean, that one hit us right in the face, but and alien teleport hit us right in the face sitting there on the tutorial again. So
yeah,
I think we uncovered one before the show. I think Stripes is the only one that is good at 100 and 200 distance.
We were talking about that one, and they're
the only ones that cover the ends of the spectrum.
Well,
think about it.
I sent in a question regarding the base bodies, heritage base bodies, Coleman Waddles, heritage Coleman Waddles.
Put it this way:
Stripes, blacks, robots. Like
tomorrow morning,
anything either cosmetic or like farming, racing. What do they do?
Yep. I will be peppering Ben F tomorrow morning about Stripes and short distance, just because. We'll see what happens. Because I did know Blake said it, and I was like, well, Andromeda is definitely a 200 bird, but they're good at 100 too, and it drives me nuts. So it kind of made things spin a little bit. So we need some data on that one.
Pretty good at 140.
All my Stripes are good at both ends of the spectrum. They're terrible in the middle.
Yeah. Well, should we just dive right through the dev blog?
Get it going.
Get into it, and then we'll tutorial it up.
All right. Boys are talking about what kind of meats they've eaten. That's nice to see. So, Chicken Derby development blog. Good day, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Chicken Derby development blog and the new development channel. Excuse me. Which will be the exclusive home for these blogs going forward. We've got lots to go over this week, so let's get started with an overview of our last event. Home Run Hitters event got off to an explosive start with 724 racers in the first 24 hours. That's right, the volume was up. It was flying there for a couple days. It was really awesome. And then
we're still doing okay.
We're still doing all right, yeah.
Yeah, you can still get your races in on the lower down. Yeah.
Mostly just because I'm out of money, but
your life's a bit hectic right now too.
Yeah.
So.
The current highest is 820 races on the day. On the last day of the superhero special, I wonder if we'll beat that at the end of this. Already 20 chickens have gotten to the coveted 25 runs, earning themselves a sublime slice of sensational sportswear. There's a lot of S's there. I do like these unis though. I like the black. Yeah. The black stars cool. Is pretty awesome.
I like them.
Still early days, so visit the tournament page for full details on how to take part. I believe there's like 3 or 4 days left in that. I believe that ends Thursday night. The Weath prizes for the October best but were sent. You should have gotten those. So, discovered secrets. Chat was running hot this week in an effort to discover some of the hidden secrets in the Chicken Derby. You all did a fantastic job in coming together and theorizing what could do what, and many were revealed. A couple of note were that chickens with the vampire beak accessory get a boost in offensive talent they might have, while those with beak ring accessory are less affected by those offensive talents. The offensive talents in question are Anvil, CK-47, Machete, Teleport when used against another chicken, Blue Egg, Helicopter, Cold Snap, Devo, Black Hole. The white pages have been updated, specifically understanding your chicken, and talent pages with all the details. If you've not seen them, then I suggest you go check it out. We're going to break that down for you tonight. So
yeah, sure.
If you're here for the first time, make sure you like and subscribe. Just get that out of the way again. Jetpack finish. This has been awesome.
Yes.
I broke my heart. Ross.
Big fan.
With, was it McGriddles or, I don't know, numbered chicken, something. Ross came out of nowhere, stole a podium, stole a first place finish. From
That's still his numbered chicken. Name your chicken.
Yeah. Is that numbered chicken? Okay. Very well. They snuck in another talent update anyways, though. So Jetpack will cross the finish line, and it is amazing. I love to see it. Can't wait to see any of the others doing it. So the marketplace test, they've been testing the marketplace, have decided it was ready to do a test session with the beta members. So Monday, October 17th, that is tomorrow at 8 o'clock. That's Central Time. We will be opening access to our dev server for all the users with the beta role. They'll have access to the marketplace. We'll be able to look around and try it out. We'll be primarily testing the user interface and what improvements you'd like to see. Honestly, pretty excited to check that out tomorrow. Warning, it'll be a live marketplace, so if you list a chicken and it gets sold, well, you go.
I'm excited for that. I'm interested to see how the search features work for how your bird does as far as winning and whatnot. We had a big purchase tonight go down. Congrats to as Josh affectionately calls him, Raw Doggin. For he bought chicken 10 this evening. So chicken 10.
To correct it, and you guys yelled at me and said it's Raw Doggin. Well, all right.
Maybe his name is Robert Doggin.
Well,
and you just been calling
Robert Walter Doggin.
And you've been calling him, Raw Doggin.
I see Raw Doggin.
But that's a hell of a purchase. That's a good bird. That's got the blue rooster, which if it does like track, I 10 times now, but meaning to look up and see what that bird's preference is. But yeah, that's an awesome bird. Chicken 10, 100 Sarama on the move to a good home. So, but maybe we'll see something cool drop tomorrow in the next couple days with the marketplace dropping out for us.
Yeah, the only thing you can't do will be trade once we get the testing going on that, and just you can take part and just not trade and give us feedback on the UI. Oh wait. Never mind. Anyways, security earlier this week, they learned that a malicious bot on the Discord was posing as an authentication bot. It would DM users with a link that would send them to a site where it would open a window that looked like MetaMask, but it wasn't. The user would then be prompted for their MetaMask password and a secret recovery phrase. Listen, if that ever happens, that's no bueno. Nothing's ever going to ask you for your secret recovery phase.
No, that's a big one. Yeah.
That's a insta red flag. Wait a minute. And you don't need that. So yeah, the Chicken Derby team will never ask you for their for your secret recovery phase. Never give it to anyone. Don't ever do it. You should never
Chicken
need
10.
to enter. Yeah, exactly. They just reiterate here as they go forward.
Chicken 10 has only been raced 32 times.
Look at that.
That's still a fresh bird. It's still got a lot of wins though.
So yeah, that is that bird's gonna be good.
Anyway, sorry,
yes. Events coming up. eReal is collating a variety of different events, which you can find at the top of the list of channels. These events include Chicken Derby specific things, such as our own AMAs, but also collaborations with other communities. We encourage you to check them out, as there are a lot of very interesting and unique discussions taking place. Plus, there may be a surprise giveaway during some of them. There is one starting shortly today. That was last week.
Yep.
So
that was a good time.
One thing that did kick off over this weekend was Fledge's Weekend Challenge, and the dev team art team did a kick-ass job of putting these totem pieces together for Fledge.
This is so cool.
One of them.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
And I've seen the full totem because it's in the chat, and it's badass.
There's
it's gonna
5
be
different
awesome.
levels.
Yeah.
This is the first level, so you'll just have to see what else it's coming up of. And
what's so cool is that Fledge has people just coming out of the woodwork donating, so birds can still go each week. All started from him just being like, yeah, so I don't know if I can sustain giving up a bird every single week. So what can we do? And next thing you know, he went buck crazy with the devs. They kicked out a concept art within like 24 hours, and it's just been a crazy ride since, and it's awesome. Happy to see that coming true, and Fledge is awesome as far as the community goes. So he's going to keep those rolling.
So another awesome thing that they've been doing lately is answering questions from the community. So this one's from the Chicken Club. Have the team looked into having different paid racing formats? Example, double up race where top 6 chickens receive equal share of winnings. This has been discussed in our chat. A lot of people very much on board with this. I'm very much a proponent for the double up entries. Just like DFS, you can get into all sorts of things.
Yep.
Hell, they could even, if they single entry type stuff, like that would be interesting as well. I like how they've gone through top 6. They're considering a top 6 win, winner takes all, middle 4 win, top 3 with no rake, and others. Go ahead, Blake. What were you going to say?
No. I mean, once you finish this out, because I think that there is a way to me that they could easily integrate this in. I mean, is there not a way that they could set up a race entry as they do like tournaments? So where like you can only enter those races under the tournament heading?
That's possible, because they did say they didn't want them to just like be smattered through and people wouldn't know what they're entering. So that's possible. Right. I'd like that. Although I do really think that the idea of like the double up, if you will, the top 6 win, is a great way to discover your chicken, but that could just be a discovery type tournament that you're doing that way anyway. But and winner takes all, that's awesome, because then you can throw up $5 and actually, go after a big prize, even though it's just one person, but it's still fun.
If they're worried here, and Josh, go ahead, get into the rest of it.
Well, they're interested in experimenting with these different formats and seeing the response, but are unsure on how to best integrate them into the game. They don't want to just randomly assign races without a payout structure, as they'll be messy and users may not be aware of what they're getting into when they enter a race. Once they have a solution for how to integrate it into the game, they'll begin to work on that development.
I think that solution is that's kind of what I'm saying. It's pretty, or they could do it like any of the DFS apps do, where they split them up into, okay,
here's
different
the top
sections. 6 win.
Yeah, legitimate sections.
Winner takes all, know, and do 2 or 3 races in each one and see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, I feel like if you just opened up, you'd have to have separate pages for these races.
Yeah,
you'd enter. That would be one way to keep them separated. You'd have to have headers for normal races, double ups, middle 4, bottom 3, top 3, winner take all.
And the one thing I'll say is, with volume still kind of being a daily issue where we want to keep volume rolling, segmenting people and where they're racing, that could cause problems there. Now it could cause more people to race, but I understand the problem there of segmenting too much too early before we
I don't think they should do them all at once. Maybe just do one as special race thing, and maybe weekly
testing them like a tournament. Like
honestly,
you said, makes
I wouldn't
sense.
mind even if they did do them all at once. Just put one race for each class in each one. Just one, and it doesn't even need to be much. Just a $5 race for the winner take all, or if the top 6 double up is $5 or something.
Just something simple. Yeah. I got you.
Easy peasy. Next question from Jotes. Do chickens have different terrain, distance preferences in different classes? No.
So this is a big clue to does anything have different preferences in different classes? And I think that's the same answer.
No.
Yeah, I think it's locked in.
No.
I think we're just, Ben F has said it well, and I've kind of felt this way all the time. This game is chock full of confirmation bias. It really can. You'll see something, whether it's a cold streak or a hot streak, whether it's what you think your chicken gets hit all the time, or your chicken never gets hit, or never gets his talent. Yeah. Like, it's all variance. It's all the deeply algorithmic chaos, and they've done a really good job of creating that. So that's I think that's what it is in the end. And you wonder,
we've kind of always, or most of us have always thought that, as the higher you go up in the class, you're just racing against better birds. So therefore your finishes are not going to be as good at those certain distance and terrain as the lower classes, right? Yeah. It should scale up as you get better in the higher classes.
Yeah, that too. In theory, it really should.
Am I the only one that gets the Steve Martin treatment?
What happened?
Nothing.
I missed it. What happened?
Yes.
All right. That's fair enough. So, tutorial updates. They're out there, so check out the tutorial. We're going to go over the ones that they have updated here. Through the different breeds. There has been discussions. Now, we do know that the Sultan has a boost to its distance preference. Is that correct?
And in that note,
boost.
They didn't say in the tutorial what it was, but Ben F very much found out the obvious correlation towards 180 to 200. They have a stronger distance preference in 180 to 200. So this is
something that has not been confirmed by the devs, but pretty much we're...
Well, I mean, most of my Sultans like 180, 200.
Yeah, well, it was something that I kind of assumed anyway, just because that's the way my Sultans have been acting. But here's how we'll get into the tutorial next, but I might as well just read it now since we're talking about it. Each chicken has a distance preference strength. The higher this is, the greater a boost the chicken gets at their preferred distance. Most chickens have the same value for this, but Sultans have a slightly higher one. So it doesn't say it just says their distance is higher, but when Ben F did the numbers, very, very obviously 180, 200. So
I would read that as whatever their distance preference is, it just has a higher boost.
Right. It just so happens 180, 200.
Most of them, most of them seem to be 180.
So here, I just thought of something. And this goes back to kind of what we uncovered this week with the talents. We uncovered the talent preferences. What are their opposite ends of that? So like, does that make sense? So like, what is if I have an anvil, what is the worst kind of bird that I could have with anvil, or worst kind of terrain that's run on?
We'll get there. That's at the bottom of this, or no, it's at the next page. First, I want to go through the understanding your chicken breakdowns.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because we do have confirmation for that the Dorking has the Dorking's terrain preference is stronger than most other chickens, meaning they do even better when they're on their preferred terrain. Right. Now, there's nothing else that suggests that, Lackenvelders have something. We do know that they are the inconsistent birds. Those are the ones that are going U-shaped on us. And we do have the Sultan information now that it does get a distance boost. Sarama's still an enigma. I feel like they will get their due eventually, I hope, especially once we can declass with some farming goods.
Right.
But I'm assuming they're the most, obviously it says it right in their name. They're the consistent birds.
And I always thought Dorking had, for me, it was just, I thought Dorkings are really good at what they're good at, and they just suck at everything else. And it's essentially just reworked the same thing, but the higher boost to the one they really like, best on their home turf, all makes sense.
And in my opinion, when they give a tip about one thing, the other things are going to follow suit in some way.
Sure. Yeah.
So all of the other heritages are going to, it said it's going to have the highest boost, right? So Dorkings are going to have the highest boost than others. That's not saying that the others don't also have a boost.
Yep. Stronger than most other chickens.
Right.
It still says most other chickens.
Right.
So stronger
also
than
has a
most.
Terrain preference strength. So that, like we had said, these numbers are weighted. Each terrain is weighted. They have a strength. The higher this is, the greater the boost the chicken gets when it's on their preferred terrain. Most chickens have the same value for this, but Dorkings have a slightly higher one. But the distance preference has been kind of a tricky thing for me because they say if your bird is a short, medium, or long, I still feel like each individual one is weighted in its own way because
I would be curious on that one. Yeah.
My bird, I've got birds that do amazing on 180, but they're just kind of okay on 200.
Everything is weighted in this game. To me, there is everything has a top, as a middle, and has a bottom.
Yeah, I see it like with the 6 different distances here. I just see it as 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Like they all go straight down from one to the next. 10 if they do like long, 200's 10, 180 is 8, and then it slowly goes down from there. Or maybe it's more precipitous for other ones, and maybe that's the problem with Saramas is maybe they're like 10, 9, 7, 6, 6, 6, 6, and they're just fucking decent at everything, and it's driving people nuts. And I know it's driving me nuts with some of them because it does seem to me they are decent at everything. The only Sarama that I've absolutely figured out has Blue Rooster and loves track, so it makes sense. That's why that bird is so damn profitable, because Blue Rooster gets the boost for track, and that works out. Everything else has been a bit of a mindfuck.
So Ross asked a question: does a bird, before knowing what heritage it was, have a distance preference? Yes. And then if that happens to be a Sultan, is it boosted? Otherwise a miss. So the Sultan gets a boost on its distance preference. So its preferred distance will get a slightly higher boost than most other chickens at that distance. And same with the Dorkings. The Dorkings would get a higher boost to their terrain preference.
But it's to each individual bird's terrain preference.
Correct.
So if your bird is a dork and he's good at 100, he's going to get a boost there. If your bird is a dork and it's good at 160, it's going to get a boost there.
You mean Sultan?
Dork. Your dork is better than most at their terrain preference.
Yeah,
you said 100.
Exactly. So if you're
that's a distance.
I mean,
sorry. We're switching. That's all.
I'm sorry.
Just want
dirt.
To make sure.
You get my point.
Yes.
Dirt.
So
grass. Whatever.
The main thing they've hit us over the head here is before we get to the white beak bonus, is that we're working with the 3 different preferences per bird: terrain, distance, and then oddly enough, the talent preference.
Yes.
Which we all kind of just thought, well, that's our bird's talent. But now it seems like maybe your bird's talent doesn't match with this preference.
Each chicken has a preference for a type of talent, magic, spirit, tech, or weapon. If their talent preference matches their talent type, then they have a higher chance of performing their talent. Most chickens have the same value for this.
So here's where I started really thinking again. All of this has just hit me square in the face. I always wondered, what is smart breeding? What's it going to look like? They're detailing it right in front of our face. Very obvious.
Yes.
It's all right there. You're going to look at it and you're going to see like, all right, both these birds are okay, but this bird loves sand. And this bird has moving walkway. I'm breeding these, or maybe I'm fusing them for the chance that I get a sand moving walkway bird. Like it's all in there.
Well, now it's like, okay, now you want to breed helicopters with eye patches, or helicopters with CK-47s, or black holes with aliens, and teleports with aliens. And
had a light bulb moment. Why couldn't they give every bird like 3 stars, and as their terrain, distance, or talent is matched, your star lights up? It doesn't know which one it is, but you just know which bird has a match.
Interesting. It would be kind of a window into figuring out your bird because you still have to figure out your bird, but
you wouldn't know what star matches with what. You would just know that's a 1-star bird, a 2-star bird, or a 3-star bird, or a no-star bird. Now I know he's got a dud. He doesn't match with shit. I can breed this guy, or better yet, I know I've got a 3-star.
Yeah.
Oh, I asked the question, Sambo.
You did, yeah. You sent it a good one.
What these base bodies do, man.
Classics,
they gotta do classics, blacks, chip robots, stripes. They all got to do something.
So now with these 3 qualifiers that we now know are kind of the base of what your chicken is, beyond what we already understood.
This is the racing base,
right?
Terrain,
the racing base,
distance, and talent has to do with racing.
And then they go ahead and just a day before, we kind of were all reserved. Someone said in the chat, they were like, White Beak's just a breeding bonus. It is what it is. And they're like, nope, White Beak might be the biggest wild card in the game because this is going to be tough to figure out. Go ahead, take it away, Josh.
Chickens with white beaks have one of their terrain, distance, talent, preference, strengths boosted.
End of statement. They gave us a juicy nugget there, but that's it. They kept it real succinct.
Here's the question now. Does that mean dorks with white beaks have their terrain boosted again? Or is that independent and it boosts something else?
I think it would be a double boost.
Yeah.
I think it would be layered on top of one another. This is what's going to end up making your bred birds better than its parents.
This would kind of
it's going to be stacked onto the next.
This would kind of explain to me why the Cheshire Cock, I cannot figure out what his terrain preference is, but that bird can hit 180 on about 5 different distances and be very profitable.
That's his boost.
He's obviously, we know that he has the distance boost. So I've always assumed 180 was his distance. So his distance gets that boost, I assume. And I'm assuming that his white beak is also a distance boost. Because
so it's actually more of an advantage to have a distance boost than the others, right? Because there's more terrains that would be boosted if you get the distance boost.
Well, I haven't had a chance to really dive into it yet, just I wasn't racing too much this weekend. But I have a bird that I was pretty sure was 140 snow, and
interesting.
But then snow snow is not that great, and then they want a 140 sand, and then they want a 140 rock, and I'm like,
this is the way.
140, yeah.
There's 3 levels of white beaks. You've got the talent preference, which only benefits one thing, which is your talent.
Right.
You've got the distance talent, which is the highest because it matches every terrain on that distance.
Yep.
And then you've got the terrain distance, which only gives you the 6 of that, or the terrain on every distance.
The thing is, though,
right?
I don't know if you would ever see any of this stuff. Like
you would in your graph.
Even if you had 1,000 races of data, would you see any of
this?
Yes.
I think you would see the first 2. I don't know if you would see talent preference because it's
distance, yes. Because like I just explained, yes. I can see it with, and I assume, I can't confirm.
Let me just look at my white beak real quick.
Yeah, the white beak boost has been really interesting here because I think with enough data, it'll start to sift, but it's going to drive some people a little bit crazy. Or I'm going to go through and look at every single one of my white beaks and reconsider now. Because
here's something that's interesting. So I'm looking at my bird right now, 40% on sand and 65 races, 43% on track and 73 races ran. But so what that tells me is I'm getting the white beak bonus on one and his preference is on another.
Possibly. Here's the thing.
Yeah, I know.
I was just thinking about this in my head, how I was going to frame this. This can be very awesome for some chickens, but this could also be the double-edged sword that is what makes a donkey a donkey. Is like, my talent preference doesn't match up with the bird's talent.
Right.
My white beak doesn't match up with it has a talent boost, but again, it doesn't match with its preferred talent. So,
but if you figure it out, fusing and breeding, it's like it's all right there. Like that's the key. They're not worthless chickens, and that's when this is actually giving more value to each chicken because now you can now there's no chicken that you should just toss out and say screw this chicken because it could be the key to
bringing up a good point.
Go ahead, Blake.
Well, he's bringing up a good point of the value of the chickens, and this is why I think it might be important for the devs to give us more of these nuggets. And not only that, but what you guys were talking about doing is doing a tutorial of how this is all going to break down into each bird. And if somebody new wants to go out and buy a bird, where is that bird particularly going to be good at, or where should they start running it on? Right.
Yeah.
I would start by where their preference, or we think their preferences are.
Right. I mean, right away, if you have the time to go through, you should be going through and seeing if there's birds out there that have a really good record, maybe aren't so great, but they have a good record on track, and they have blue rooster. It's like, it's right there.
The more new people we come in that can run and race and win, the more that the value of these chickens are going to go up.
I want to be able, when I fuse a bird, if I fuse a white beak, can I pick its boost?
Probably not, right?
No, but I want to.
I know, no, but I want to.
Hey, actually, no, wait.
No, but damn it, I want to.
Hey, there might be something you can farm that would allow you to maybe eliminate one of the two, or one of the three, so that you get 50-50 chance of
we don't know
one.
what the breeding boosts are yet with the crops and everything. We don't know a thing.
There's
about
a lot
that.
of things that they could do like that with the crops,
maybe you are more likely to pass, like maybe having the rare comb and wattle, like the teal or the gold or the purple, give you a better chance of an advantageous breed. Like maybe that's where that comes in. We don't know yet. We don't have a clue, but it's now making us feel like everything, like Blake has said before, every damn thing matters.
Well, and I think and this is kind of what I've been saying. I think everything matters for racing, and then everything has a separate meaning in itself for breeding.
What if the heritage comb and wattle or base bodies gave a boost to their own independent, like Dorkings have a terrain boost? Maybe if you have the orange will, it's a little bit better, or if you have the floof, that distance boost is a little bit better. Or we don't have anything on the lax or the Seramas, but the one thing again we always go back to, it says it right in the tutorial. Blackenvelders are not so much straight up says verbatim inconsistent, but they are inconsistent birds. And
it says a chaotic breed.
Yes.
A tenacious attitude and wild nature. So it's all alluded towards.
I'm wondering how much that's tied when we say wild. I think of inconsistent, meaning we were talking about this too. I don't want to call it a cool down period, but when my bird goes on a cold streak versus a hot streak. So I wonder if maybe the lax are more apt to go on cold and hot streaks more often than others, if that's what they mean by that.
Right. So I'll try to keep this succinct, because I still need to workshop it some more, but I'm curious what you guys think. Curious what the chat would think of it too. Cold and hot streaks. Ben F was also trying to figure out, are cold and hot streaks real, or is it confirmation bias?
We've been talking about this for months.
We know consistency and inconsistency is real, but does that equate to what we're calling cold and hot streaks? I guess.
Right. Or is it simply just an immense amount of variance and that algorithmic chaos that is throwing us off? So my thought on the consistency rating and the idea of a Lackenbelder being a bit more chaotic in that sense and going up and down is that they have a very temperamental meter for when you do a dice roll for its consistency.
Oh yeah,
where it rolls and it goes, whoop. That roll means that it's a very inconsistent roll, which means you have a much higher chance of going way great or way bad. It almost like it cuts out the middle, and the chances are now the dice that's being rolled has a way higher percentage to be great or terrible.
Who brought that up in the chat and broke it down like per heritage? It was like lax are like 30 and 30 at 1 through 3 and 10 through 12, and then Seramas it's like 1 through 6. It's scaled, and then it just drops off after 6 through 12, and then Dorkings are kind of scaled. I don't know. It was just
that's the thing. We might be looking at
system that they had.
Well, that's the thing. If Seramas are great racers, as they say they are, and they have high consistency, and maybe they're consistent birds,
fast,
then
nimble, hard to hit.
So when that dice roll goes off for the consistency, and it always comes up as medium or great, then you're already looking at a very low chance to get a terrible roll out of your Serama to downclass it. So that could be the thing infuriating all of us.
And I wonder too, he does bring up how much of it is the algorithmic chaos or whatever, because here's what I'll say. If I have 12 birds and all 12 are lax and all 12 are on hot streaks, 3 birds have to finish at the bottom. Okay. So even if it was to match up in a certain way, even if your bird's on a hot streak, it could still lose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
I was explaining this to my sister. We were just talking about how these things can happen. You could have a great dice roll. You could roll something that on the initial hit puts
it's
you
the
in
wrong
a podium,
class. It's the
right?
wrong,
but
you're running against the wrong people that are also had a good dice roll.
And that's it. Three people had better dice rolls than you, because that's just the way that shit happens. Maybe one of them hit their talent. Maybe you got hit with a talent, and next thing you know, you're in fourth, when maybe 9 times out of 10, that dice roll was good enough for a podium. But this race, it wasn't, just because that's the way it breaks sometimes.
Yeah. And this is why I think when you're trying to down class and you hit that good dice roll where you finish middle of the pack, right? Or when you're trying to up class and you hit that bad dice roll, you're finishing in the middle of the pack.
Right. And now we know things like anvil hitting you on rock is even worse. So you get hit with anvil on. I'd love to see the numbers where if you're hit with anvil on rock, Ranga, how often is that like an auto down class? Like, how much does that really crush you?
Chicken struck by anvil take longer to recover on rock.
Yep.
I was thinking about something as far as how often does the last talent that goes off win?
Well, it's going to happen a lot more now, since they're going to be adding crossing
the jetpack, man. They are going to push that through. I do feel like there's something
talent
there
that goes off, especially if an offensive talent, to me, wins or podiums a lot.
That's probably one of the sequences that are kind of programmed in, is that like, okay, we'll make this pretty simple. That last talent that goes off is going to be a bit of
you should ask.
But I've
also
seen quite a few that, a chicken, a pult, or a flight that drops them into 5th and 7th, and
sure. You need to. This is the next question you need to ask Deli, Tyler. Is the question of whether are we seeing? Are we just seeing a video playing out the dice roll, or the what's what I'm trying to ask? What I'm
just like a video.
Are we seeing a video representation of the algorithm, or what's the other part that we were saying?
Or is it a little more intuitive?
Right. Is it a little? Is it as the segments go on that these are playing out?
It's by all like basic and limited understanding I have of the API and everything I'm looking at, there are parts of what we watch that matter, but there's also a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of stuff in there that is just meant to be entertaining for you. But there's plenty of stuff where when your talent is going off, that's all random. But if your talent does go off at the end and you get that mega boost and you don't have time to fall back, that does matter, because your talent went off later in the segment. And if it isn't your preferred terrain, you'll probably slowly fall back as you go. But if it happens at the end and you find yourself in second or third, you only have a little bit of time to hang on and stay in contention. So these things do matter. And that is the chaos. That is the randomness of it, the fact that it went off late. Sometimes I feel terrible when my boost talent goes off early, and then other times it goes off early and I never lose the lead. So it does mix and match a little bit there. But we can trick ourselves. I mean, hell, I've done it.
Yeah, like you said, this is the confirmation bias.
Or sometimes you can get 2 Devos in a decent money race and not even podium.
That's because my bird had a Blue Rooster on track. Sorry. That was that exact race, man. Speedy Thief. I thought he had it.
Yeah, well.
All right. So let's, I think it's worth grabbing these just for the people that haven't checked in yet. It's all listed in Chicken Derby's Discord, in Game Insights. They have shown you all of the things that we discovered and threw us a bone on a couple. We should, after we roll through these, we should probably just pause through them. But make sure you jump in there, because this does change the way you race your chart.
We're gonna need a nice. If somebody has some time and wants to create a nice little breeding chart of all these. We're going to need all these in the future to see, okay, if I have this bird with this bird, what are my likely outcomes going to be? Right.
So real quick, Dude Drop said, I think talking about when your talent goes off and everything, I think that also depends on how far you're behind when it happens. And that's the thing too. If you, some of these talents that you can see, they drop back on purpose so you can find yourself to 6th, but if your talent does go off after you've been hit with an anvil or after you've been attacked by the CK-47 and you're just too far back, and even if you get a massive boost, it's not enough. When it happens, does matter.
I think some of that's just like if you get hit by a talent and your talent goes off, that's a net 0. Right?
It can be. It all depends. Like, but if you have a moving walkway on sand, then it's probably a net something plus for you, but not as big as it would have been. Yeah.
Yeah. Another, the if you go into the tutorial talents page, boosts, or as Tyler said, the game insights, chickens with eye patch fire longer with the CK-47. Cooper driven longer on road terrains. That was kind of always assumed, but never.
It's a little annoying how obvious a lot of these were, and we still just had to fight through them, man.
Nothing to flight. Growth lizard eye birds are grown longer. Oops. Machete, an extra chicken will get decapitated when on a grass terrain.
Yep.
Rollerblades, we knew this. The little star will show up when it's on its preferred terrain.
Now that does benefit you, right? I mean, it does seem like it's
flat out. Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I'm curious about that. That is a question I would like some clarification on. It does the trick for your preferred terrain, but is it a longer boost? That's probably something I can just see by looking at the API, honestly. But
it would have. I imagine it can't just be a star.
No, it's a big thing to
hey,
to
you
know.
Got rollerblades. Your chicken gets a cute star.
But it's nice to know that that's your preferred terrain. So
right.
It's like, all right, it didn't work for me, but still, yeah, I get you. It should be something. I think it is.
Alien eye birds will teleport further. That was confirmed.
Is that further and forwards and backwards?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes.
And it was also staring us right in the face.
Yep. And good. Yeah, it was right there. Yeah, dicks.
Wait a minute.
Blue Egg didn't really get anything, but since it's hen exclusive.
You just said staring us in the face.
Yeah, it's right there.
Go back. Go back through all of them. No, look at their eyes.
And they're not all all that way.
Yeah.
Not all of them. Yeah, I did that. I checked. They're not all that way. I'm positive on that one. Like
there is two.
Like when you go to helicopter, you'll see it's not an eye patch bird.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dig has dirt there, obviously, but it's digging.
Yeah. I know. I did that. I did that.
I had you.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Helicopter bird does not have an eye.
No. But wait. Yeah. Listen to me though. Remember, there's still some type of boost to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Are these the eyes that match up with these type of, not the extra boosts, just the normal boosts?
Like the talent match?
So are these eyes, so like does beauty eyes match up? So like if I have beauty eyes and whatever that talent is my talent more likely to go off or whatever?
Well, I mean, imagine beauty eyes going with fan group. I mean,
or whatever it's listed on here in this tutorial. Right? What I'm saying is right there. What eyes are those, for instance? Well, we can't tell jetpack.
Determined or angry? Probably angry.
There you go.
Are they all different? Well, some of them have cocks. Like I've seen cockeyed twice now.
Okay. If there's multiples on there,
there's beauty eyes on the dig.
Angry twice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's worth checking because these are the kind of things
they're gonna throw silly things in, and we're gonna be like, "Oh my god, it was right in front of our face the whole time."
Right.
Okay. There's multiples.
All right, Josh, keep rolling through those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn it.
The last one we said was
helicopter shoots
teleport?
3 rockets.
Yeah. Yep. Do that one.
Eye patch.
Nothing for blue egg yet.
Nothing with jetpack. Rare talents. Cold snap freezes an extra chicken when on snow terrain.
Yep. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
So if your worst preference is snow and your talent is snow terrain,
that's a bunch.
See, here's the thing: you're gonna win some, but you're probably not gonna win very many.
No, that's a bird you got to breed properly.
Fusion.
Or fuse. Yeah, flat out just fuse. Yeah, I agree.
Move the talent onto something that does like snow.
Mm-hmm.
Chickens with lizard eyes stay transformed longer in the Devo.
Only 7.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer when you think about it, because like Devo only has 7 birds that get a boost, whereas every single moving walkway bird does better on sand. So it does like there's got to be something else.
Yeah,
It almost has to be, because in my opinion, this makes moving walkway exponentially a more valuable talent than Devo.
But Devo also is a high frequency talent, and it does
There's
have
balancing,
an offense, and it does have a decent boost after.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got its perks, I feel like.
For sure. But I mean, it and yeah, I guess, you know what?
Cheshire had moving walkway. He'd look good
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah. That basically is a Cheshire.
It is Cheshire
copycat, isn't it? Yeah.
It's literally him.
Yeah.
Yeah, when on sand terrain, chickens have longer moving walkways.
Which makes sense. Sand's hard to run on. Like, all these made sense. After we figured out a few, we were like, okay, this has to make sense. Like it has to be something that actually links up, because they all have. And sure enough, every single one of them. And the last one we couldn't figure out was machete. And we were like, well, machete cuts grass, so it's probably grass. And then we found it. So yeah.
Black hole has a chance that could completely consume a chicken. Chickens with alien eyes have a greater chance of this happening. Only two.
George Keller and one other.
Breeding pair too.
It is
exact same color, exact same Coleman Waddle.
It's the third week we talked about
these. Are these owned by Active Wallets?
One of them is owned by that redneck guy that came in and had it stolen. The other one, I have no idea. Neither of them.
If one of them is not owned by an Active Wallet, this is dead.
You have a good point. If that chicken now.
Or fused.
Now, hopefully, whoever the hell.
Oh, you mean that one
Active Wallet and an alien? You fuse them together,
right? But it's never. It's never gonna be that top tier. It's always gonna be the lower level class.
Either way, though, it would be, unless you got.
Yeah.
Either way,
but that's 100% match is what I'm saying. Like that, those babies from those two.
Could be purebred, if you will. Yeah.
And you're really kind of anything that you bring in outside is just diluting that breed, kind of.
Maybe unless
and if both of them are, this is a risky thing though for them to make, because if there's only two birds off the gate and they're both dead wallets,
we're
in trouble.
Now I really hope that anybody that owns a bird that that good would know they own something pretty cool and be there. But yeah, the dead wall thing certainly might run into some issues.
Maybe they change something.
And then Royal Procession, nothing yet. We're still waiting to figure out on that one as well. So so yeah, pretty cool. And that's in summation: dig, dirt, grass machete, road cougar, rock anvil, sand moving walkway, snow cold snap, track blue rooster. All kind of made sense.
These are all the talents, guys. Yep. So now we're on to everything else. I feel like we've uncovered like 15 to 20%.
Yeah,
it's a nice. It's given me a bit of a second wind on a couple of these things. Like I almost wish I had a little bit of each, so I could kind of really look at that marketplace tomorrow and sift through. I mean, I have a little bit, but I want to keep my racing budget up. But
you can only make offers on birds that have them offer enabled.
Right. But I can always go to OpenSea and offer, but still, but it's just the fact, that's the thing. You can always still go to OpenSea and offer. It's just nice that we will have some place where you can search for it.
I wonder if you put a bird for sale, does it pop up on OpenSea?
It should. I mean, it's still part of
tied to OpenSea, or is its own individual? And then if you put it on OpenSea, it'll also go into there.
I guess we'll find out. Yeah. That's a very good question. I would imagine there's a connection there because it's still a similar contract. I guess we'll find out. That's a good question.
But it wouldn't go vice versa if it's listed on OpenSea.
Yeah. So I guess we'll find out there.
Well, they could pull that information into their marketplace and probably pull it from OpenSea and make it available, but vice versa. I don't know.
Vice versa. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Especially since now that's the thing. I don't necessarily think the marketplace was meant to just like make OpenSea obsolete for Chicken Derby. It's just we needed a place that was a fast one shop where it's like, bang,
Absolutely.
you go on our website, click here. You don't have to go to another website. You're right here. Search everything up, buy a bird, done.
I guess we're going to, like you said, we're going to find out, because if everything is pulled in automatically from OpenSea, you're going to see all the birds listed for sale. I'm going to be able to buy those right then.
I would imagine. Well, we'll see. I have no idea, but I would imagine
if I go into our marketplace and put my bird for sale there, I don't think it's going to show up on OpenSea.
No, we will find out tomorrow. I think. Yeah, that is interesting.
All right.
All right. So I don't think we missed anything that's been dropped yet as far as the Game Insights. I think we hit on just about everything there.
Yeah, pretty sure we hit about everything.
Yeah, and it's definitely a little more exciting for me. It definitely makes me kind of feel like, okay, I can strategize just a little bit more now. You know, I can fight just a little bit more. I can take some risks a little bit more on birds, even if I don't think the dig is right. It's like, okay, it's dirt. I have dig. He's sand, but it is 140. Okay, maybe I can take a risk here. You know, it's worth it to get that extra dig, because, man, now that you can see what the big boosts look like, Blue Rooster on track is gigantic.
Yeah,
the moving walkway is ridiculous. Like, it takes you so far out in front of the lead. You basically have to get hit by something to really draw you back, unless it's a 200 radius, and that can happen. But yeah, like, man.
I believe a Halloween event coming up after.
Yep, we got
the
2
home
days,
run event.
3 days left on the home run, 2.5 days.
Yeah, I'm gonna race like crazy in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I need to get some birds up to 25. I've been slacking.
I've got a couple sitting around 7, so I got to do some work myself.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on your races. See if you can't find anything. Always ask the deli if you find something and have the evidence to prove it. It's always worth the ask.
Be on the lookout for that terrain.
Say is no.
Terrain and distance. Start finding things that stick out on terrain and distance.
Let's see them up. Yeah. Ask questions and get in there and talk with them. And with the addition of Ariel, it's been just it seems like now your question gets answered, even if that question, even if that answer is not right now, but at least we know that we can, call that a day and move on to something else. So yeah, this is an exciting time. It kind of feels like that juice is back again. I know I've been saying that for a couple of weeks, but I really do feel it. I like the connections we're making through the Twitter Spaces and different communities, and we have all these different things planned. I stopped by the last one, and it was interesting listening to some other people talk about exactly what NFTs mean to them and where they're going next. And it kind of gives you that feeling as we sit in this bear market. We all get a little uncomfortable, but we have a game that has really been progressing nicely, and these last couple of weeks have been quite excellent. They really have been, and I've really felt that reinvigoration a bit.
Yeah, I feel like we made it through the lull period, the lowest period. We're kind of creeping back up slowly but surely.
I think so.
We'll get there.
Yep,
we'll get there. Yeah, so that was our show this week. If you want to swing by and chat with us, join the Coop Collective. That's in the information at the bottom of this video. Also, make sure you like and subscribe if you're just checking this out for the first time. You can find us in the Coop Collective Discord or the Chicken Derby Discord in the Chicken Derby chat. I am at Grateful Coops. We have at MBF Express and Water Racing down below. Yeah, getting racing them chooks. We'll see you next week. Hopefully we find some more information.
See ya.
Bye. You want to finish it with